Hello all and welcome to The Big Story, where we discuss the hottest topics right in the heart of the newsroom. I'm Haryanto, coming to you live from the Straits Times. We are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, so be sure to comment, like and share the video. While you are at it, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell button as well to be alerted of our videos. Now, I will be joined by my newsroom colleagues to talk about the stories that got you talking today. Well, it is another exciting day in Malaysia. Malaysia seeks to lower the voting age from 21 to 18, a move that will add 1.5 million voters to the electoral roll. Now, the amendment is likely to pass as both the ruling Pakatan Harapan coalition and opposition parties UMNO and Parti Islam Malaysia PAS look to set to gain from it. Now, larger urban youth electorate is seen as more likely to support PH, while race-based parties UMNO and PAS could benefit if these largely Malay young voters turn increasingly right-wing. Now, to tell us more, I have Assistant Foreign Editor Lim Ailin. Welcome, Ailin.
Thank you.
Now, if this does pass, it will mark the first bill to receive multi-partisan support since PH came to power in May last year. But the opposition parties are not agreeing without conditions of their own. More on that, Ailin.
Yeah, well, the general consensus, the general feel of it is that they do agree in principle, but they are just looking to extract more concessions from Pakatan Harapan with regards to other issues that may come up in Parliament later on. So what they're asking for is they're asking for automatic registration of voters.
Right.
Currently, there are 15 million voters, registered voters in Malaysia. There are 3.8 million voters who are eligible to vote who are not registered because they have not done so themselves. There's no automatic system for doing this. So they're asking for automatic registration. They're also asking that the minimum age for candidates who run for election to also similarly be lowered from 21 to 18 years.
And you see, it's funny, right, Ailin, because as with other things, of course, you know, the parties cannot agree on, but it seems that for this one, they're all going like, yeah, let's agree on this. Now, how can the different parties benefit from this change?
Yes, I think traditionally the feeling has been that if you are the government of the day and you lower the voting age, then you stand a chance of risking the next election. Right? Because you then only have however many, so Pakatan will only have another 4 years to cater to this younger demographic as it is. But still, it's 21 to 18, you know, you have 21-year-olds that you still have to cater to today. So regardless which way I think the young voters decide to go, it's actually a good thing for the country as a whole. You have young people being active, being empowered to have a say in how their future is going to look like, in how the country is managed. So as far as Pakatan Harapan is concerned, if you get more young voters in the urban areas, they stand to gain. That's their usual support base. Also, if you have voters who are looking more for reform, they are looking for things like freedom of expression, they're looking for equal rights, they're worried about climate change. Pakatan Harapan then is the reformist party that you would expect them to move towards. Having said that, UMNO and PAS, these are very much race-based parties. They have been talking a lot about Malay rights, Malay privileges. If you are an 18-year-old young Malay voter, you would be worried about what all young people around the world are worried about, which is your future. Will I have a job? Will artificial intelligence take over everything? So they might pivot more towards UMNO and PAS because UMNO and PAS have always said, we will protect Malay rights, we will protect Malay privileges, we will make sure that you are fine.
The Bumiputra laws,
the Bumiputra, right? we have a positive discrimination policy or an affirmative action policy. So it could go either way. And so both sides look at this proposal and they say, well, we both stand to gain
from it. Now, Youth and Sports Minister Syed Sadiq Abdul Rahman himself, only 26 years old, said the move may be risky for PH. what could possibly backfire then? Because we've talked about, they can benefit and all that. But then it seems that Minister's saying that, while it looks good and all that, it could possibly backfire. How so?
Okay, at the risk of sounding like an old fogey myself, young people are unpredictable.
Yeah.
Right? So what we have to bear in mind is before the elections last year, there was actually an Undi Rosak campaign.
What's that?
Yeah. So Undi Rosak basically means spoil your vote. And this was a campaign largely run by relatively younger voters, disillusioned with the way things had turned out because they were asked to choose between an allegedly reformist party that, yes, they have the youngest MP in Parliament, who's only 23 years old. They have the youngest minister in Parliament, which is Syed Saddiq, who's only 26. But at the same time, it's a reformist party, but that is led by the oldest MP in Parliament, and that is Prime Minister Mahathir, who himself is a member of the old guard from UMNO. So you're asking us to choose between a so-called reformist party, but it's led by someone who is from the other party that you're asking us not to vote for. So there was this whole Undi Rosak campaign. The other point which I raised just now is that most of the additional voters that will come on board, this 1.5 million, will largely come from the Malay community. And Pakatan Harapan does not have as strong a hold on the votes in that community as UMNO and PAS. And UMNO and PAS are now working together to consolidate that Malay vote. So those are the two risk factors that Pakatan will have to contend with.
Yeah, eventually. Now, again, of course, this younger voting age, it's not new. Other countries have done it as well. So how does this younger voting age compare with the rest of the world?
So in Singapore, it's still, as you know, 21 years old. In most countries, it's 18 years old. But countries like Austria, Brazil, and Malta have lowered the age even more. So their minimum voting age is 16 years old. Of course, there have been some criticism on that part. At 16 years old, what do you know? Right? But on the other end of the spectrum, you have the United Arab Emirates, where the minimum age is 25, which is
to vote.
Very, very old. Yes. So, well, in the words of one of the politicians, one of the Malaysian politicians, is that if you are old enough to get married, why not vote?
Exactly. And if in Singapore, if 18 years old, you can go to NS, same as well, right?
I'll leave that to you. I will not comment on that.
Putting Eileen on the spot right there. Now, thank you so much, Eileen, for coming on to the big story. To shed light on this issue right here. Of course, this whole bill and then the talks of it are still in its nascent stages. Pun intended right there, of course.
Yes. So it will be tabled for debate on July 16th. So they may get a vote by the 17th. Right.
Okay, so there you have it. Of course, we are going to be covering it. We're going to give the updates. So for more updates on this bill, be sure to follow closely on our website. That is www.straitstimes.com. Once again, thank you, Eileen, for coming on to TBS today. Now, moving on to our second segment. For 30 minutes yesterday afternoon, Tampines temporarily transformed into Turin when football superstar Ronaldo made a surprise visit to Yumin Primary School, which happens to also be my primary school as well. Now, the Juventus star striker made the visit in support of the Singapore Olympic Foundation Peter Lim Scholarship. Now, on Wednesday, he had visited our Tampines hub. Now, for this trip, Ronaldo landed in Singapore on Tuesday and will leave today. Now, to tell us more about this exciting event, I have correspondent Sazli Abdul Aziz. Welcome, Saz.
You were from Yumin, I'm from Chongqing.
There we go. We gotta shake hands today.
Both our alumni managed to,
exactly.
Our successors managed to see Ronaldo.
Exactly.
But it was really Ronaldo mania lah. Yesterday, I'm sure a lot of people received a lot of videos and photos over WhatsApp and flooded social media. But the one thing that struck me about Ronaldo was his demeanor. He seemed to really genuinely enjoy the chance to interact with these kids and take photos and pictures, and he was having a kick about. We've had quite a few big name footballers come to Singapore in the last few years. Some at the invitation of Peter Lim, others at, because of sponsorships and so on. And not all of them, look like they enjoyed to be here. Sometimes they wish they were somewhere else. But Ronaldo was really genuine, and he video bombed a UMIN teacher who was taking a selfie video, and it just showed that he's really having a ball of a time here.
I see the pun.
And also, sorry, props has to go to Peter Lim. You mentioned Peter Lim. He's here because of Peter Lim. Peter Lim, of course, pledged another 10 million to the Peter Lim SOF, Singapore Olympic Foundation fund to help athletes who need that, young athletes who need that funding, and he's also pledged another 20 million towards a new community project where for the children from underprivileged backgrounds. So. It's really a generous gesture, and one I think we should applaud.
Definitely. And certainly, right, you're right to say, I have always seen, we've seen Ronaldo on the screen, on TV and pictures and all that. He's like this perfect man, right? Perfect physique and all that. And you wonder, right, how is he in person? So to actually see him interacting with these kids, and you're right, he genuinely looked very excited to be here as well. I thought it was very nice.
There have been some, viral videos of him, coming off the team bus, to greet a kid and stuff like that. But at the same time, he's always sort of in a cocoon and with his shield up almost, when he's in Europe. So I guess to come all the way to Singapore, he feels he's free to do whatever he wants.
Possibly. Now, he's not the only football legend that made the news yesterday. One of the most followed clubs in Singapore has appointed a new manager as well. Now, Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich has turned to a familiar face, Frank Lampard, rather than an experienced hand to replace the former manager, and lead the club into a new era. Now, Lampard, adopted by Chelsea fans as the heart and soul of the club's midfield, was handed a 3-year contract. Now, on one hand, Lams is definitely a fan's favourite. On the other hand, he is a managerial greenhorn. So, is it a wise choice?
Well, I think, people obviously will go and draw the similarities to Solskjaer at Manchester United. He started off well, sort of fizzled out, and then everybody's saying, oh no, now the club has no direction, so on and so forth. But I think there's one key difference, and that is Chelsea are a club that were actually still competitive last season. They led the Premier League table for a period of time. They reached 2 cup finals. They won the Europa League. So their squad has a lot more quality than Man U's when Solskjaer took over. So right from the start, I guess Lampard will be under less pressure than Solskjaer. I was talking to a friend of mine who's been a Chelsea fan since 1996, and he's actually really happy because he feels Lampard ticks all the boxes. So I guess time will tell whether he'll be a success.
So it seems that you think that it is a good appointment.
Yeah, I do. I mean, for a few, I'm a neutral, but for a few factors. First of all, like you mentioned, he's a club legend. He spent so many years there. He's broken so many records, and the fans love him. So right from the get-go, he has the fans backing. He has the support of the supporters, and that's always important for a new manager. Secondly, he sort of fits with what Chelsea have now, which is they have a lot of, it's no secret Chelsea have some of the most talented young players in Europe, but previous managers have always been criticised for not giving them faith, for not fielding them significantly, relying on the older players. So Frank Lampard last season, he's only had 1 season of managerial experience under his belt. He has played youngsters in his Derby County team, and he reached the playoff finals. So the hope is that he will, tap into the talents that Chelsea has and blood them into the first team, and I think he can do that successfully.
What about the assurance of the top tier managers elsewhere in Europe, that bit as well?
Okay, you see, that's the thing. I think why this is a talking point is because usually the top 4 or top 6 teams in England, they tend to get the big names and stuff like that. But like I said, I feel like Chelsea have a transfer ban now. They've lost their star player in Eden Hazard, who's gone to Real Madrid. So there's no assurances if you throw money at your Ancelottis or your Thomas Tuchels that they will want to come and take on this challenge, because they won't be able to sign a player until 2020 May. So I think Lampard is, is it a bit premature? Is it, he's like you say, he's wet behind the ears, only has 1 year experience. Yes, but I think it could turn out to be a very shrewd move by the club.
So that said, you are a neutral party. You've assured that. How do you see next season unfolding for Chelsea under the new rule?
Well, on paper, even though, like I said, they have quality, I don't think without strengthening, they are going to challenge for the Premier League title. Or they might challenge, but they won't win it because, simply put, Manchester City and Liverpool have better squads. And Man City have already broken their transfer record. They signed Rodri, and Spurs have also broken their transfer record, signing Tanguy Ndombele. So, teams around them are going to improve. Having said that, I feel that the Chelsea team is still better than the Man U team. We're going to get a bit of greenback for that. And the Arsenal team. So I think Chelsea could still finish in the top 4. And I think, that's reportedly what the club has targeted for Lampard. So I think he'll be able to do it.
All right. So, well, it remains to be seen, right, as to whether he will succeed under this new rule. Once again, thank you so much, Sas, for coming onto the show to talk about, how Chelsea will fare in the next season, and certainly, the excitement around Ronaldo's visit to Singapore this week. Now, early on for our first segment, we had our assistant foreign editor, Lim Eileen, to talk about the change in voting age in Malaysia. Now, of course, the bill will be tabled again on July 15 or 16 in mid-July. So more to be seen on that as well. So that is all we have for our top stories for the day. For more news and videos, do log on to our website. That is www.straitstimes.com. Once again, I'm Haryanto. Join us on Monday for more stories on The Big Story.